First contact. The low hum of the Star Sprite's engines was the only sound in the cramped cockpit as Captain Aria Chen guided her ship towards the uncharted planet. Its swirling azure atmosphere peeked through wispy clouds, beckoning her closer. After months of solo exploration in the far reaches of the Andromeda Galaxy, Aria's heart raced with anticipation. This could be it, the discovery that would change everything. Initiating atmospheric entry, Aria announced to the ship's AA. "Brace for turbulence, NAVI." "Acknowledged, Captain," the AA's soothing voice responded, adjusting shield harmonics to compensate for atmospheric composition. The Star Sprite shuddered as it pierced the upper layers of the alien world. Aria's knuckles whitened on the controls, her years of training kicking in as she fought to keep the ship stable. Sweat beaded on her brow, but a fierce grin spread across her face. This was what she lived for, the thrill of the unknown, the chance to go where no human had gone before. As the ship broke through the cloud cover, Aria gasped. Below her stretched a landscape both familiar and utterly alien. Rolling hills covered in vegetation that shimmered with an iridescent purple hue. Winding rivers that seemed to glow from within, pulsing with an inner light. And in the distance, jutting from the ground like the spine of some colossal beast, a formation of crystalline structures that defied explanation. "NAVI, are you seeing this?" Aria whispered, her voice filled with awe. "Affirmative, Captain. Sensors are detecting high levels of an unknown energy signature emanating from the crystalline structures. Recommend caution." Aria nodded, guiding the Star Sprite towards a clearing near the base of the crystal formation. As the ship touched down, she performed a final systems check before donning her exosuit. Her heart pounded in her ears as she approached the airlock. "Atmosphere is breathable, Captain," NAVI informed her. "But I strongly advise keeping your helmet on. We don't know what other factors might be at play." "Understood, NAVI. Keep the engines primed for a quick takeoff if needed. I'm heading out." The airlock hissed open, and Aria took her first steps onto the alien world. The ground beneath her feet had a slight give, almost spongy in texture. Each step released a burst of bioluminescent spores that danced in the air before settling back down. Aria's scientific mind raced, cataloging every detail for later study. But it was the towering crystal structure that demanded her attention. Up close, she could see that it wasn't a single formation, but rather a complex network of interlocking crystalline shapes. They hummed with energy, sending vibrations through the ground that Aria could feel even through her suit. "NAVI, are you getting readings on this?" she asked, approaching the base of the structure. "Affirmative, Captain. The energy signature is unlike anything in our databases. It appears to be pulsing, almost like a heartbeat." Aria reached out, her gloved hand hovering just inches from the crystal's surface. She hesitated, years of training screaming at her to be cautious. But the explorer in her, the path that had driven her to the stars, won out. Her fingers brushed against the cool, smooth surface. The effect was instantaneous. The entire crystal structure lit up, pulsing with blinding intensity. Aria stumbled back, shielding her eyes. When she looked again, she gasped. The crystals had rearranged themselves, forming what could only be described as a doorway. "Captain, I'm detecting a massive surge in energy readings." NAVI's voice crackled through her helmet. "I strongly advise retreat to the ship immediately." But Aria couldn't move. She stood transfixed as a figure emerged from the glowing portal. It was vaguely humanoid, but composed entirely of swirling energy, its form constantly shifting and changing. When it spoke, the words seemed to form directly in Aria's mind. At last, the being said, its mental voice filled with what Aria could only describe as relief. "A worthy vessel has arrived." Before Aria could react, tendrils of energy shot out from the being, enveloping her. She tried to cry out, but found she couldn't move, couldn't speak. The world around her faded to white as knowledge, vast and incomprehensible, flooded her consciousness. Images flashed through her mind, a galaxy-spanning civilization, far more advanced than humanity. A terrible war that threatened to tear reality itself apart. A desperate plan to preserve their essence, their knowledge, until a species worthy of inheriting it could be found. As suddenly as it began, the flood of information stopped. Aria found herself on her knees, gasping for breath. The crystal structure had returned to its original formation, the energy being nowhere to be seen. But Aria knew, with a certainty that terrified her, that she was no longer alone in her own mind. Captain Chen, do you read me? Navi's frantic voice cut through the haze of Aria's thoughts. I'm here, Navi, she managed to respond, her voice shaky. I'm okay, I think. Your vital signs are erratic, and I'm detecting anomalous brainwave activity. Please return to the ship immediately for a full medical scan. Aria stood on wobbly legs, her mind reeling from what had just occurred. As she turned back towards a star sprite, a voice that was not her own whispered in her thoughts. We have chosen well, Aria Chen of Earth. You are the bridge between your kind and ours. The fate of galaxies now rests in your hands. Aria shook her head, trying to clear it. What had she just become a part of? As she stumbled back to her ship, she knew one thing for certain. Her discovery was indeed going to change everything, but in ways she could never have imagined. Back in the safety of the Star Sprite's cockpit, Aria submitted to Navi's barrage of medical scans. Her body seemed unchanged, but her mind was a maelstrom of alien thoughts and knowledge. Captain, I'm detecting no physical anomalies, Navi reported. However, your neural patterns have been significantly altered. I cannot determine the cause or potential effects of these changes. Aria closed her eyes, trying to make sense of the swirling information in her head. Navi, set a course for Earth. We need to report this to Galactic Command immediately. As the Star Sprite lifted off, leaving the mysterious planet behind, Aria couldn't shake the feeling that she was carrying something of immense importance. The fate of galaxies, a voice had said. What did that mean? And how was she, a lone explorer from a species that had barely taken its first steps into the cosmos, supposed to bear such a burden? The alien presence in her mind stirred, and Aria got the distinct impression of amusement. You underestimate yourselves, Aria Chen, the voice whispered. Your species' potential is why we chose you. Together we will forge a path that will shake the very foundations of the universe. As the Star Sprite jumped to faster-than-light speed, hurtling towards Earth and an uncertain future, Aria Chen knew that her life, and the fate of humanity, would never be the same again. The awakening. The bustling control room of Galactic Command fell silent as Captain Aria Chen finished her report. Admiral Yuki Tanaka, her weathered face etched with concern, was the first to break the stunned silence. Let me get this straight, Captain, Admiral Tanaka said, her voice carefully measured. You're telling us that you made contact with an ancient alien civilization, and they downloaded themselves into your brain. Aria nodded, fighting the urge to fidget under the intense scrutiny of Earth's top brass. I know it sounds incredible, Admiral, but I assure you, it's the truth. The knowledge they've given me, it's vast, beyond anything we could have imagined. Dr. Elias Mbeki, the head of xenobiology, leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with scientific curiosity. And you say this alien presence can communicate with you? As if on cue, the alien consciousness stirred within Aria's mind. Show them, it whispered. They need to understand. Aria took a deep breath. It's more than that, Dr. Mbeki. Here, let me demonstrate. She raised her hand, focusing on the knowledge newly embedded in her psyche. To the astonishment of everyone in the room, a holographic display sprang to life above her palm. It showed complex schematics for technology far beyond current human capabilities. This, Aria explained, her voice trembling slightly with the effort of channeling the alien knowledge, is the blueprint for a device that could revolutionize our energy production. It harnesses the quantum fluctuations of vacuum energy, providing near-limitless power with zero emissions. The room erupted in a flurry of excited whispers. Admiral Tanaka raised a hand for silence, her eyes never leaving Arya. "Captain Chen, do you understand the implications of what you're showing us?" Arya nodded solemnly. "I do, Admiral. This is just the tip of the iceberg. The aliens who chose me as their vessel, for lack of a better term, were part of a highly advanced civilization. They possess knowledge that could catapult humanity centuries ahead in scientific and technological development. But why?" Dr. Mbiki interjected. "Why would such an advanced species choose to share their knowledge with us?" The alien presence in Arya's mind stirred again, and she found herself speaking words that were not entirely her own. "They believe in our potential, Doctor. They see in humanity a spark, a drive that they believe could reshape the galaxy. But they also warn of great dangers that lie ahead." Admiral Tanaka's eyes narrowed. "What kind of dangers?" Before Arya could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Lieutenant Commander Ravi Patel burst into the room, his face pale. "Admiral, we're detecting massive energy signatures in orbit. Multiple objects just appeared out of nowhere." The main view screen flickered to life, showing a terrifying sight. Dozens of sleek, predatory-looking ships had materialized in Earth's orbit. Their design was like nothing humanity had ever encountered. "It's them," the alien voice whispered in Arya's mind. "The Harvesters. They found your world sooner than we anticipated." Arya's blood ran cold. "Admiral," she said, her voice tight with urgency, "those ships belong to a species known as the Harvesters. They're a nomadic race that travels from galaxy to galaxy, strip mining inhabited worlds for resources. They're here for Earth." Chaos erupted in the control room as officers scrambled to respond to the threat. Admiral Tanaka barked orders, mobilizing Earth's meager defensive fleet. But Arya knew it wouldn't be enough. Humanity's most advanced ships were toys compared to the Harvester fleet. "There is a way," the alien voice prodded. "The knowledge we gave you, use it." Arya closed her eyes, diving deep into the well of alien information in her mind. There, she found what she was looking for. Her eyes snapped open. "Admiral, I know how we can defend ourselves, but you have to trust me." Admiral Tanaka hesitated for a split second before nodding. "What do you need, Captain?" "Get me to our most powerful radio telescope. I can use it to send a signal that will disable the Harvester ships, but we have to hurry." What followed was a blur of activity. Arya found herself rushed to the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, the massive radio telescope reproposed to her specifications in record time. As the Harvester ships began their descent, weapons primed to lay waste to Earth's cities, Arya channeled the alien knowledge through the telescope's systems. A pulse of energy, invisible to the naked eye, but more powerful than anything humanity had ever produced, shot from the telescope. It washed over the Harvester fleet like a tidal wave. One by one, the alien ships went dark, their systems overloaded by the precisely calibrated energy burst. In the tense hours that followed, as the disabled Harvester ships were boarded and their crews detained, the full impact of what had occurred began to sink in. Humanity had just fought off an alien invasion using technology they'd barely understood, and it was all thanks to the knowledge given to one woman by a long-dead alien civilization. Back at Galactic Command, Admiral Tanaka regarded Arya with a mixture of awe and wariness. "I think it's clear, Captain Chen, that the game has changed. Whatever this alien presence is that you're carrying, it just saved our entire species." Arya nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settling heavily on her shoulders. "It did, Admiral, but I don't think this is the end. I think it's just the beginning." "The beginning of what?" Dr. Mbeki asked, his scientific curiosity warring with newfound caution. Arya looked out the window at the night sky, where the disabled Harvester ships still hung in orbit, a reminder of how close they'd come to annihilation. The beginning of humanity's true role in the galaxy. We've been given this knowledge, this power, for a reason. The aliens who chose me believe we have the potential to be something great." She turned back to the room, her eyes blazing with determination. "But potential isn't enough. We have to earn our place among the stars. We have to prove that we're worthy of the trust placed in us." Admiral Tanaka nodded slowly. "And how do you propose we do that, Captain?" Arya smiled, feeling the alien presence in her mind hum with approval. "We learn, we grow, and then we take our place on the galactic stage. It's time for humanity to step up and show the universe what we're truly capable of." As the implications of her words sank in, Arya could feel the excitement building in the room. Humanity had faced its first true extraterrestrial threat and emerged victorious. But more than that, they had been given a glimpse of their own potential, of the heights they could reach. The awakening had begun. Humanity was about to embark on a journey that would take them to the farthest reaches of the galaxy and beyond. And Arya Chen, the woman with the mind of an ancient alien civilization, would be there to guide them every step of the way. Galactic diplomacy. The gleaming spires of New Geneva stretched towards the stars, a testament to how far humanity had come in the 5 years since the Harvester invasion. Captain Arya Chen, now Ambassador Chen, stood at the window of her office, watching ships from a dozen different alien species dock at the newly constructed spaceport. "It's time, Ambassador," her AI assistant, NAVI, announced. "The council is assembling." Arya nodded, smoothing down her formal diplomatic attire. "Thank you, NAVI. Let's make history." As she made her way to the Grand Council chamber, Arya couldn't help but marvel at how quickly things had changed. The alien knowledge she carried had accelerated human development at an unprecedented rate. Clean energy, faster than light travel, advanced medicine, all had become realities in a remarkably short time. But not everyone was happy with humanity's rapid ascent. The council chamber was a cacophony of alien languages as Arya entered, each being translated seamlessly by the neural implants all delegates wore. She took her seat at the human delegation's table, acutely aware of the mixture of curiosity and hostility directed her way. The Galactic Council itself was an ancient institution, comprising representatives from the most advanced spacefaring civilizations in the Milky Way. Humanity's invitation to join had been controversial, to say the least. "This council is now in session," announced Zorlaf, the squid-like Zorlak who served as the current council president. "Our first order of business, addressing the concerns raised by several member species regarding the human race's unprecedented technological advancement. Ambassador Krex of the Vrol Imperium, a warlike species of reptilian humanoids, was the first to speak. "Esteemed colleagues," he hissed, his forked tongue flicking in agitation, "we cannot ignore the elephant in the room. The humans have progressed from a pre-FTL civilization to rivaling the most advanced council races in mere years. Such rapid advancement is unnatural and poses a threat to galactic stability." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Arya steeled herself, knowing this was the moment she had prepared for. "If I may address the council," she said, her voice calm but firm. All eyes turned to her as she stood. "Honorable representatives of the galaxy's great civilizations, I understand your concerns. Humanity's journey has indeed been unusual. But I ask you to consider not just the speed of our advancement, but its nature." With a gesture, Arya activated the holographic display in the center of the chamber. Images flickered to life. Earth's now pristine cities, powered by clean energy. Medical facilities where once incurable diseases were routinely treated. Fleets of ships embarking on peaceful exploration missions. In the short time since we joined the galactic community, we have not used our newfound knowledge for conquest or domination. Instead, we have focused on healing our planet, expanding our understanding of the universe, and reaching out in friendship to our cosmic neighbors. She paused, letting her words sink in. The knowledge we gained was a gift, yes, but it is what we chose to do with that gift that defines us. We come before you not as conquerors, but as students eager to learn, and as friends ready to contribute to the greater good of all species. Ambassador Leary of the Etheri, a race of energy beings, spoke up. Your words are noble, Ambassador Chen, but how can we trust that humanity's intentions will remain peaceful as your power grows? Arya nodded, acknowledging the valid concern. Trust must be earned, and we are prepared to earn yours. We propose a series of cultural exchange programs, open scientific collaboration, and joint exploration initiatives. Let us work together, learn from each other, and build a future that benefits all. The chamber buzzed with discussion. Arya could sense a shift in mood, from outright hostility to cautious interest. But the Vrol ambassador wasn't finished. Pretty words, Prex sneered, but actions speak louder. If humans truly wish to prove themselves, let them face a trial by fire. The Xo-Kalaf sector has long been plagued by space pirates that even our combined fleets have failed to eradicate. Let the humans prove their worth by succeeding where we have failed. Arya's heart raced. The Xo-Kalaf sector was notorious, a lawless region that had resisted all attempts at pacification. It was a dangerous challenge, but also an opportunity. We accept, Arya declared, causing a stir among her own delegation. Humanity will take on the task of bringing peace to the Xo-Kalaf sector, but we will do so not through force alone, but through diplomacy, innovation, and cooperation with the sector's inhabitants. The council chamber erupted in a mix of surprised exclamations and heated debates. President Axolaf had to flash his bioluminescent tentacles several times to restore order. A bold proposal, Ambassador Chen, the Zorlak said, his compound eyes studying her intently. The council will need to deliberate on this matter, but know that if we agree, failure could mean the end of humanity's participation in galactic affairs. Arya nodded solemnly. We understand the stakes, Mr. President, and we are prepared to rise to the challenge. As the council adjourned to discuss the proposal, Arya's fellow human delegates surrounded her. Are you sure about this, Arya? Dr. Elias Mbeki, now the head of Earth's Xenostance division, asked worriedly. The Xo-Kalaf sector is a death trap. We to be sending our people to their doom. Arya felt the familiar stirring of the alien presence in her mind, a warm encouragement. We have to prove ourselves sometime, Elias. This is our chance to show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of. As they waited for the council's decision, Arya couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. The task ahead would be monumental, but if they succeeded, it would cement humanity's place among the stars. Hours later, the council reconvened. President Zorlaf's voice rang out in the hushed chamber. After much deliberation, the council has decided to accept the human proposal. You will have one standard galactic year to bring order to the Xo-Kalaf sector. Your methods and results will be closely monitored. A ripple of excitement went through the human delegation. Arya stepped forward, her head held high. On behalf of humanity, we thank the Council for this opportunity. We will not let you down. As the session concluded and delegates began to file out, Arya found herself face to face with Ambassador Krex. The Vrol's reptilian features were twisted in a smirk. You've bitten off more than you can chew, human, he hissed. The Xo-Kalaf sector will be your species' grave. Arya met his gaze unflinchingly. Perhaps, Ambassador, or perhaps it will be where humanity truly proves its worth to the galaxy. Either way, we're ready to face the challenge. As she turned away from the seething Vrol, Arya's mind was already racing with plans. The Xo-Kalaf sector would be their greatest test yet, but also their greatest opportunity. It was time for humanity to show the galaxy what they were truly made of. The cosmic threat. The bridge of the UAS horizon, humanity's most advanced starship, was a hive of activity. Ambassador Arya Chen, now bearing the additional title of Mission Commander, stood at the center, her eyes fixed on the holographic display of the Xo-Kalaf sector. Status report, she called out, her voice steady despite the tension in the air. Captain Maya Rodriguez, a veteran of the Harvester invasion, responded promptly. "We're approaching the outer boundary of Xorkalath space, Commander. Long-range sensors are detecting multiple ships on intercept courses." Arya nodded, unsurprised. Their arrival wouldn't go unnoticed by the sector's infamous pirate fleets. "Open a channel to the fleet. All frequencies." As soon as the comm officer signaled readiness, Arya spoke, her words broadcast not just to the human ships, but to every vessel in range. "This is Commander Arya Chen of the United Earth Fleet. We come in peace, seeking dialogue with all factions in the Xorkalath sector. Our goal is not conquest, but cooperation. We invite representatives from all groups to meet with us and discuss the future of this region." For a long moment, there was silence. Then the comm system crackled to life with a dozen different voices, some curious, others hostile. But before any meaningful dialogue could begin, alarms blared across the bridge. Massive energy spike detected. Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka shouted from the science station. It's like nothing I've ever seen before." The view screen flared with blinding light. When it cleared, a sight that sent chills down every spine on the bridge appeared. A massive, planet-sized ship had materialized at the edge of the sector. Its surface writhed with what looked like living metal, constantly reshaping itself. "By all that's holy," Captain Rodriguez whispered. "What is that thing?" The alien presence in Arya's mind stirred, radiating a sense of dread she had never felt before. "The confluence," it whispered. "They've returned." Before Arya could process this, the massive ship began to move. Beams of energy lanced out, striking pirate vessels and reducing them to atoms in seconds. The comm system erupted with panicked cries and desperate pleas for help. "All ships, evasive maneuvers." Arya commanded, snapping into action. "Captain Rodriguez, get us out of here. We need to regroup and assess the situation." As the UES Horizon and its fleet retreated to a safe distance, Arya's mind raced. The alien knowledge within her was in turmoil, fragments of information about the confluence bubbling to the surface. "NAVI," she called out to her AI assistant. "I need you to compile everything we know about this threat. Coordinate with the alien presence in my mind. We need answers, fast." Hours later, in the ship's main briefing room, Arya stood before a gathered group of human officers and hastily assembled representatives from various Xorkalath factions. The recent attack had done what months of diplomacy couldn't: united the disparate groups of the sector against a common enemy. "What we're facing," Arya began, her voice grave, "is a threat unlike any this galaxy has ever seen. The confluence is not a species, but a collective consciousness spanning multiple dimensions. They consume entire civilizations, absorbing their knowledge and technology." She gestured to the holographic display showing the confluent ship. "This vessel is merely an avatar of their true form. It's a scout, sent to assess our galaxy's potential as a feeding ground." Murmurs of fear and disbelief rippled through the room. A grizzled pirate captain, his face a map of scars, spoke up. "So what chance do we have against something like that? We're nothing but insects to them." Arya's eyes blazed with determination. "That's where you're wrong. The confluence may be powerful, but they're not invincible. The ancient civilization that gifted me their knowledge faced the confluence before. They couldn't defeat them, but they found a way to drive them back." She activated another hologram showing complex schematics. "This is a quantum resonance cannon. It can disrupt the confluence's interdimensional structure, forcing them to retreat. But building it will require resources and cooperation on a scale we've never attempted before." Captain Rodriguez leaned forward, studying the plans. "Even with every ship and station in this sector working together, this would take months to construct. Do we have that kind of time?" As if in answer to her question, the ship shuddered. Lieutenant Tanaka's voice came over the comms, tight with urgency. "Commander, the confluent ship is on the move. It's consuming entire planets. At its current rate, it'll reach the core worlds of the Galactic Council in less than 2 weeks. The room erupted in panic. Aria raised her voice, projecting calm authority. Listen to me. This is no longer about humans proving themselves, or pirates defending their territory. The entire galaxy is at stake. We need to work together, not just humans and Sokolaf denizens, but every species in the council. She turned to the pirate representatives. You know this sector better than anyone. We need your expertise, your hidden resources. In return, we offer amnesty and a chance to be part of something greater than ourselves. The pirate captain who had spoken earlier stood up. You've got yourself a deal, Commander. Better to die fighting than be food for that monstrosity. Aria nodded gratefully, then turned to her human officers. Contact the Galactic Council. Inform them of the situation and request immediate aid. Every ship, every scrap of advanced technology could make the difference. As the room buzzed with activity, people rushing to carry out her orders, Aria felt the weight of the galaxy settling on her shoulders. The alien presence in her mind radiated approval and support. This is what we prepared you for, it whispered. The moment when humanity would need to rise and lead the galaxy against its greatest threat. Aria took a deep breath, steeling herself for the monumental task ahead. Then let's show them what humanity is made of, she thought back. In the days that followed, the Sokolaf sector transformed from a lawless frontier to the heart of galactic resistance. Ships from every council race poured in, bringing resources and technology. The quantum resonance cannon took shape, a massive construction effort spanning multiple star systems. But time was running out. The confluent ship carved a path of destruction through the galaxy, each consumed world making it stronger. The cannon was their only hope, but it wasn't ready yet. As Aria coordinated the galactic defense from the UES horizon, she couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and fear. Humanity had united the galaxy in ways she never thought possible. But would it be enough? The final confrontation loomed, and the fate of every sentient being hung in the balance. Unlikely alliances. The command center of the hastily constructed Galactic Defense Station buzzed with activity. Representatives from dozens of species worked side by side, their differences set aside in the face of annihilation. At the heart of it all stood Aria Chen, her eyes fixed on the massive holographic display showing the confluence's inexorable advance. Time to intercept, she asked, her voice tight with tension. 36 hours, Commander, replied Zixtol, a Zorlak tactical officer. His tentacles writhed anxiously as he added, The quantum resonance cannon is at 89% completion, but our simulations show we need at least 95% to have any chance of success. Aria nodded grimly. They were cutting it close. Too close. She turned to address the assembled leaders. We need more time. Ideas. For a moment, silence reigned. Then, a gravelly voice spoke up. We could try to slow it down. All eyes turned to Krex, the Vrol ambassador who had once been humanity's most vocal opponent in the Galactic Council. Now he stood among them as an ally. Explain, Aria prompted, intrigued. Krex's reptilian features twisted into what might have been a smile. The Vrol Imperium has long worked on weapon designs too, unstable for practical use. But in this scenario, instability might be exactly what we need. He activated a smaller hologram, showing schematics for a sleek, deadly-looking missile. This is the Void Fracture warhead. It creates a temporary rift in space-time. Not enough to destroy the confluent ship, but it could disrupt its advance, buy us the time we need. Murmurs of excitement rippled through the command center, but Aria's brow furrowed. What's the catch, Ambassador? Krex's eyes met hers, filled with a mix of respect and resignation. The warhead must be delivered manually. Its unstable nature means it can't be launched remotely or via torpedo. Someone would need to pilot a ship directly into the confluence vessel, a suicide mission. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Aria felt the weight of every eye upon her. As the de facto leader of this galactic alliance, the decision fell to her. Before she could speak, A new voice cut through the tension. "I volunteer." Heads turned to see Captain Maya Rodriguez step forward, her jaw set with determination. "The UES Horizon is the fastest ship we have. If anyone has a chance of getting close enough to deliver that warhead, it's us." Aria's heart clenched. Maya had been with her since the beginning, a friend as much as a subordinate. "Maya, I can't ask you to." "You're not asking, Commander," Maya interrupted, a small smile on her face. "I'm offering. This is bigger than any one of us. If there's a chance to save the galaxy, to give humanity and every other species a future, then it's worth the risk." Pride and sorrow warred within Aria as she regarded her friend. This was the spirit that had driven humanity to the stars, the courage and self-sacrifice that had impressed even their harshest critics in the Galactic Council. "Very well, Captain," Aria said, her voice thick with emotion. "Begin preparations immediately. Ambassador Krex, please oversee the transfer of the Void Fracture warhead to the Horizon." As the command center erupted into action, Aria felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned to find Dr. Elias Mbeki, his eyes shining with unshed tears. "I never thought I'd see the day," he said softly. "Humans, Vrol, Zorlax, even the pirate factions, all working together. Whatever happens, Aria, you've achieved something remarkable here." Aria squeezed his hand, drawing strength from his words. "Let's make sure it's not in vain, old friend." The next day passed in a blur of feverish activity. The quantum resonance cannon neared completion, each percentage point gained feeling like a monumental victory. Meanwhile, the UES Horizon underwent hasty modifications to accommodate the Void Fracture warhead. As the deadline approached, Aria stood in the Horizon's hangar bay, saying farewell to Maya and her volunteer crew. The atmosphere was solemn, but charged with purpose. "Remember," Aria said, clasping Maya's hand, "you only need to buy us a few hours. Get in, deliver the payload, and get out. That's an order, Captain." Maya's smile was bittersweet. "I'll do my best, Commander. But we both know the odds." She straightened, saluting crisply. "It's been an honor serving with you, Aria. Give 'em hell." As the Horizon departed, streaking towards its date with destiny, Aria returned to the command center. The mood was tense, all eyes alternating between the countdown timer and the blitz representing the Horizon and the confluent ship. Hours ticked by, each moment stretching into eternity. Then suddenly, alarms blared. Energy spike detected. Zixtol shouted, "The Horizon has deployed the warhead." The command center held its collective breath as they waited for news. Then, a cheer erupted as the confluent ship's signal flickered and slowed. "It worked," Krex explained, his usual composure forgotten in the moment of triumph. "The Void Fracture is destabilizing its dimensional matrix." But Aria's eyes were fixed on another readout. Any sign of the Horizon? Silence fell as the implications of her questions sank in. After a moment, Zixtol spoke, his voice soft. "No life signs detected in the vicinity, Commander. I'm sorry." Aria closed her eyes, allowing herself a moment of grief for Maya and her brave crew. Then she straightened, her voice ringing out clear and strong. "They've given us our chance. Let's make it count. All personnel to battle stations. Prepare to fire the quantum resonance cannon." As the massive weapon powered up, drawing energy from a dozen nearby stars, Aria felt the alien presence in her mind stir. "This is it," it whispered. "The moment that will define not just humanity, but the entire galaxy." Aria's hand hovered over the firing control. Around her, humans stood shoulder to shoulder with aliens of every description, united in this final desperate stand against cosmic horror. "For Earth," Aria said softly. "For the galaxy, for Maya." Her hand came down on the control. The quantum resonance cannon fired, a beam of pure possibility lancing across space towards the wounded confluent ship. As the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, Aria Chen, the woman with the mind of an ancient alien civilization, stood at the heart of the most unlikely alliance the universe had ever seen. And she dared to hope. Triumph of the human spirit. The quantum resonance beam struck the confluent ship with apocalyptic force. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, nothing happened. Then, the massive vessel began to warp and distort, its living metal surface rippling like water disturbed by a stone. "It's working," Dr. Mickey shouted, his eyes wide with a mixture of awe and scientific fascination. "The quantum resonance is disrupting its interdimensional structure." But their celebration was premature. The confluent ship, though visibly damaged, began to adapt. Tendrils of energy lashed out, attempting to stabilize its form. "No," Aria whispered, feeling the alien presence in her mind recoil in horror. "It's trying to absorb the energy from the cannon." Alarms blared throughout the command center as systems began to overload. The quantum resonance cannon, their last hope, was being turned against them. In that moment of despair, Aria felt a surge of determination from the alien consciousness within her. "There is one more thing we can try," it whispered, "but the cost." Aria understood immediately. "Do it," she commanded, both aloud and in her mind. To the shock of everyone present, Aria's body began to glow with an otherworldly light. She rose into the air, her eyes blazing with power beyond human comprehension. "What's happening?" Krex demanded, his reptilian features contorted with confusion and fear. Dr. Mickey's voice was filled with wonder as he replied, "The alien consciousness. It's fully manifesting through Aria." Indeed, Aria felt herself becoming a conduit for the ancient civilization that had chosen her. Their knowledge, their power, their very essence flowed through her. She understood now why they had selected humanity, why they had waited so long to reveal this final gambit. Aria's voice, when she spoke, resonated with the wisdom of eons. The confluence feeds on complexity, on the rich tapestry of advanced civilizations. But there is one thing it cannot comprehend, cannot consume. Her glowing form streaked towards the quantum resonance cannon. As she merged with the massive weapon, her next words echoed not just through the command center, but across the minds of every being in the galaxy. The indomitable will of a young species, burning bright with potential. The quantum resonance cannon flared to life once more, but this time, the energy was different. It carried within it the essence of humanity, their dreams, their fears, their boundless determination to forge their own destiny. The beam struck the confluent ship, and this time there was no adaptation. The eldritch horror that had consumed countless civilizations found itself facing something it could not understand or absorb, the raw, unrefined potential of a species at the dawn of its cosmic journey. The command center watched in awe as the massive vessel began to collapse in on itself, unable to maintain coherence in the face of this unprecedented assault. But even as victory seemed within reach, they realized the terrible cost. Aria's form, still merged with the cannon, was fading. The ancient consciousness that had guided humanity to this point was burning itself out, using the last of its energy to amplify humanity's unique essence into a weapon the confluence couldn't resist. As the confluent ship imploded, taking with it the threat that had loomed over the galaxy, Aria's voice echoed one last time through the minds of all present. "This is our gift to you, humanity. You have proven yourselves worthy inheritors of our legacy. The future of the galaxy is in your hands now. Make it a bright one." With a final burst of light, both Aria and the alien consciousness vanished, leaving behind a stunned silence. In the days that followed, as the galaxy came to terms with what had transpired, humanity found itself at a crossroads. They had lost their guide, their connection to ancient wisdom, but in its place, they had gained something perhaps even more valuable, the respect and trust of the galactic community. 1 month after the battle, the Galactic Council convened in an extraordinary session. Solath, the Zorlak president, addressed the assembled representatives. "We stand here today thanks to the sacrifice of Ambassador Aria Chen and the human race. They have demonstrated a courage and potential that many of us doubted they possessed. In light of their actions, this council proposes to elevate humanity to full member status, with all rights and responsibilities that entails. The motion passed unanimously, a first in the council's long history. As humanity prepared to take its place as a leading force in galactic affairs, Dr. Elias Mbeki found himself addressing a class of eager young cadets at the newly established Galactic Academy on Earth. "The universe is vast and full of wonders," he told them, his eyes gleaming with the same curiosity that had driven him throughout his career. "But as we've learned, it also holds great dangers. Area Chen and the ancient consciousness she carried showed us the way, but now it's up to us to forge our own path." He gestured to the stars visible through the Academy's transparent dome. "Out there, new challenges await. New mysteries to unravel, new civilizations to meet, and who knows? Perhaps someday we'll even find a way to thank the beings who entrusted us with their legacy." As the cadets filed out, buzzing with excitement about their future adventures, Dr. Mbeki remained, gazing at the star-filled sky. For a moment, he thought he saw a flicker of familiar light, reminiscent of Aria's final transformation. He smiled, whispering to the cosmos, "We won't let you down, old friend. The best of humanity is yet to come." And somewhere in the vast expanse of space and time, the essence of Area Chen and the ancient civilization that had guided humanity stirred. Their task was done, their energy spent, but as they faded into the cosmic background, they did so with the satisfaction of knowing that the torch had been passed to worthy hands. Humanity had faced its trial by fire and emerged stronger, wiser, and ready to take its place among the stars. The age of human ascendancy had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.